throughout tomorrow.
Yeah, they are, I would say almost without a doubt, the favorites to win. But as we're waiting for the picks and bans, we're going to be going pretty soon into this first match. I just got to point out, so Team Last Second, last time around, they were there were a few I guess stragglers that were not playing on the Tekka team that particular week, along with some other players that were not on any particular team. They just wanted to play in the tournament. This time around, though, I know it's not one of our current matches, but I just want to everybody to look forward to this because they are, it is a bunch of all-star names. So they've got Gasman, they've got Blue Jay, Evictus, Be Their Shield, Exponent, Tazim, who I haven't seen for I don't even know how many weeks it's been, but I'm super excited to see return to him. Fusion Blackie and Mr. Big Large. So that is some of the players from IQ, some of the players that were on Last Second before, some of the players that were on I think some of the players are on Skill Issue. I don't know. It's just, again, it's another all-star team. So that might be our best chance to see who can take them down. But like I said, first, it's going to be, of course, Iron-Blooded Orangutans. They are a team that has been on or in these tournaments for the past 2 or 3 events, and they just haven't been able to be on broadcast. So I'm very excited to watch them play. One of the previous events, they actually had an unfortunate issue with their roster with one of their players. They had to play a 5v6 for their first match, and they did it. And then they kept playing. And then I think they actually had to drop down to a 4v6 in their next set of the tournament. But hey, they played through it. That shows, I think, a lot of great competitive spirit and sportsmanship, TBH.
Yeah, I mean, overall for me, it's just kind of evoking the image of maybe a Beast Wars-esque Gundam, with iron-blooded orangutans is something that's always kind of intrigued me. So I'm excited to at least cast their matches. It's going to lend itself to some good fun wordplay at the very least. But I mean, they have their work cut out for them. Like you said, there is only one real roster, though, that we're looking forward to, unless we get some big surprises. I mean, we do typically get to see the kind of level up effect that these events do have as the weeks go on, as the teams get more experience, they get better and better. And it's typically not as easy for the teams that are absolutely just kind of dominating. But Mafty, I mean, with a 3-0 victory in the last grand finals and in the manner that they did it, is going to make it difficult. But like you said, that one roster, it looks absolutely stunning too.
Yeah, the other thing too is that we do have so many roster switches over the course of every single tournament. I would say about 50% of the teams are almost completely different every single time. But Team Mafty, ever since the the official Gundam Evolution tournament, the $20,000 tournament, they have had essentially the same roster. They haven't really lost too many people. They've only added people on and then had them play in to get more experience in these tournaments. So they've really kept consistent with their team on top of everything else, which is just okay, you got everything going for you. But we are now going to get into the picks and bans here, the first of the day. And it looks like the first ban from Team Mafty is going to be Quarry.
Ooh, okay. So Quarry taking out of the pool. I'm kind of surprised about that one, especially with how largely it's been picked up. And then the next ban coming in, that's going to be Harbor City. So the 2 maps that we talked about during the stats page, one of the more popular ones so far of this year, already banned out. And our first map coming in from Team Mafty is going to be Thermal Plant. And that's a kind of scary proposition for IBO.
Oh, double domination. Thermal Plant into Mountain R&D Lab. This is a lot of confidence from both teams and Colony Trading Post. So I think the 3 banned out maps that we're seeing right now are the 3 most picked from the previous event in particular. Oh, wait, looks like we might. No, that is the correct one. The 3 most picked are now gone. Flak Fort banned out as well, which of course I want to see it. But Underground Command Center as the decider, but we'll see if we can get to that. Like you said, this could be very tough for Team IBO against Mafty because they have been so good at just each little individual skirmish fight on all of the domination missions that we've seen.
Yeah, when it comes to just 6v6 team fight kind of coordination, Mafty has some of the best kinds of team coordination when it comes down to it. Their G maneuver discipline is absolutely fantastic. Typically, they don't overuse, and they know how to chain these G maneuvers together for team fight after team fight after team fight to make sure that they can absolutely secure the victory. So 2 domination maps, but IBO actually picking the second one. That's the big surprise, especially after seeing that first round pick coming out from Team Mafty.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't know how IBO plays, so I guess we'll get a chance to see. But while we get these players set up, we are going to be taking a short break so that we can get ready to get into the game. But we're going to get right into it as soon as we get back, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with game number 1 of the series event number 3 right after this.
Can you feel that? Can you feel that?
And game number 1 of Mafty versus Iron Blood Orangutans will be taking us to thermal plants, starting off with domination. And one of the biggest things I'm already seeing that I wanted to mention, season 3, take it away.
Yeah, we've got the double Hyperion coming in from either side. So these guys swiping immediately to get that one on in. And I'm really excited about this, especially with the kind of lack of tanks in the current meta right now, or excuse me, in the current roster pool. So no Sazabi's coming out from either side as we load on up. It's going to be an ace side. First pick, 9 blows on the, on that Pale Rider for now. But you can see that shield is up from either Hyperion, but it's going to be Mafty on point first.
They are already taking a great spot. Carl Sagan on the melee, or sorry, this is the range Zaku. I'm still saying melee, which just does so much damage and did get a little bit of a buff. And right now you can see just melting the competition. Gonna get 3 downs at least. And that is going to be for sure a strong take on A initially for Mafty.
Yeah, I've been loving seeing the Zaku range kind of coming out from Mafty, and honestly, they're one of the few teams that were actually running that in the past few events so far on this map in particular. It's absolutely strong. The quarters that you're able to play around with that Zaku 2 range, Mafty already pushing them all the way towards their spawn right now as they have full, complete control. Only at about halfway in progress over that first point, but Casino ends up finding another pick as someone's trying to bum rush the point. 4 members are there, so it might actually swap on over there for them, but no, it's actually going to be a route over towards the B site to cut off the rotations going over towards C.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see. They didn't actually just preemptively set themselves up at C. They are holding the middle ground, and the fights on B can be very hectic. There's also just so many routes that they can just be cycling around. So it does look like Arrow will be taking out the Hyperion on the other side. We have yet to see the full effect, I think, of those shields. I'm really excited to see them soon, but here we go. Arrow just picking off some shots here. Nobody's really at C yet. This is a very strange fight.
Yeah, the point isn't going to unlock for another 15 seconds, so this is fine, especially with how Carl Sagan has been absolutely dominant on this Zaku 2 range. He's got the Heat Hawk Axe Slash ready here as he's been stunned up by that. Exia has to back away, but he's drawing attention away. His team has fallen back, and they will go ahead and capture A as Team IBL are just struggling to find any kind of foothold here.
This is tough. They are being held right now. Oh my, that was huge. Carl Sagan really just ripping up this entire team. I mean, of course, everybody playing their roles very well, but that's almost nearly a full team life. They are completely being held at their spawn. I don't even know if there's going to be a chance for anybody on the team of IBO to get onto C at this point.
Yeah, and at this point, I feel like if you're 9 blows on the IBO side, you just can't play the Zaku 2 ranged anymore. There's no more space for you to really move around. If they're pushing you all the way up to spawn, they know exactly where you are, and when there's a man like Focus on the field, well, he's going to be able to deal with you as well. Once again, pushing up, they do finally take a loss here as they end up losing out on Enders on that Hyperion Gundam, but Carl Sagan is still on the front lines as the Zaku 2 range and just pushing them completely back. That's going to be another clear. And now, as we go over to point A, it's all going to come down to one last fight.
Oh, but this fight isn't even happening on the point currently. It's happening way in front of it. This space control, honestly, is so good on the side of Mafty. And despite the fact that they're doing so well here, they are actually holding such a great forward movement. But here we go. The Screaming Nimbus is going to start off this first counter push. And we're going to see everybody going down the Hades as well. Arrow taking out 3 different suits. Arrow plus that Screaming Nimbus was enough to basically full team wipe. Only 1 left. The spot will unlock, and this will for sure be just a few seconds, I think, until this is over.
Yeah, and they need to run straight to the point. They need to get a body there before we hit that 100%. But Focus, he's got that Ashmar punch ready and willing to go, but no one's going to even get close to it. That's going to be Team Mafty taking the first round.
Oof, that was what we expected from Mafty. And once again, I will feel like I should remind everybody that despite how despite how one-sided of a match that looked like, that is not to say that the other team is bad. That is just how Mafty has looked against every single team so far in every single bracket that they've played against. And now, of course, they're even stronger. And you can see the damage being led by Focus with that increased damage buff on the Ashmar Flame Grenade is a strange choice to me, a strange buff overall, but I think we're going to be seeing the Ashmars lead the damage pretty much all day today.
Yeah, but again, so not to be outdone, Casino, the man of the Dom Trooper, just dominance there. Once again, 14,000, so just 1.5k off. And we know how well Casino can dish out the damage when he's on that Dom. I really do like the utilization of course, the newest unit so far here in Gundam Evolution with that Hyperion. Quick swap-offs, coming out from our squads onto that unit. I was surprised when we said we're going to go ahead and allow it for this event, but I'm really glad that we did.
Me too. I'm very excited to see just how the strong teams play with it, and it's for sure going to be huge here. It's very similar, I think, in like kind of the spacing that you want as Unicorn, which we are seeing as well, of course. Just when you get these giant death ball pushes, it just adds to it. But it looks like Mafty already has the high ground here, already going to be taking out Winzilla and 9 blows. This is going to be a tough spot to come back from. However, Kosekin finally going down, maybe for the first time in the game.
Yeah, he does go down, but it's against one of the worst counters really for the Zaku 2 range, which is going to be the Dom Trooper. He's able to do the splash damage. He's able to go ahead and also focus you down with his right click when you're even in the smoke. So it's very difficult to try and disengage from him. But you can see as point B unlocks, it is going to be Enders on the point for his squad. You can go ahead and back away for now. Never mind. Casino on the retreat is able to just kite away from that Exia. Finds one more. So even though they are taking some losses on the Mafty side, they have regrouped from themselves. Casino finding one more and forcing Fear to go ahead and take himself out.
The high ground is too tough to fight here. I almost, just based on the way that we've seen all these fights go, I almost want to see IBO go to just the other side, even with like 25 seconds left. Just preemptively get in position, because Mafty, as usual, so good at getting in a high position, and they're just not able to ever fight back. And it's going to be another 3 suits down. Even Profi on the gym, which is a very exciting pick for me to see, has been doing a lot of work. I was actually just talking to somebody about how I don't think Jim is used very often in competitive. I've been proven wrong.
I mean, I feel like we haven't seen Jim since our first event way back, and it's for good reason, right? There's just so much utility on other units so far, but I do like the area that he can deny with just his basic abilities for now. But you can see now as the rotations are being made on over for A, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. The thermite grenade coming in finds 2 for Profi, and yeah, was not something that we were talking about. He was running in the first round as well, and he was a large contributor to their victory in there. And now look at that, he's got his G maneuver ready. Well, almost all the members of Mafty have their G maneuvers ready.
And this is going to be a bit of a regroup, I think, on... oh, no, look at Team IBO. They've got the regroup. They're pushing in. It feels like maybe they're missing one person there, but this is immediately the Carl Sagan damage with the bomb and the double counter G maneuver to try to shut things down before they even start. And this is, again, almost nearly a full team wipe.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Even though they ended up using 3 of their G maneuvers, you have to remember that for Zaku 2 range, his G maneuver is basically just another ability. You get it back so fast. Take a look at that. After using it, he's already at 36%. And so, in the grand scheme of things, really only utilized 2 G maneuvers there. Now for IBO, never mind. They end up losing out on Exia. They have the Trans Am ready to try and push in. And now, the next point, it's going to be B once again. And they do have, this time around... Man, things are not going well for them. I was just about to talk about the G maneuver coming out for the gun tank, which is another thing that we didn't get to really talk about here.
Well, I'm really excited. We might see the G maneuver coming out from Hyperion on the side of Enders, and that, oh, it's actually coming out, and we're seeing it. Oh, it's gonna at least grab 2 people. Just take them all around the corner. No way. This is like, oh, excuse me, coming through. Oh, and that is such a strong G maneuver, but just get out of the way. We can see the effectiveness. Even honestly, that was like used very, very far away. It still worked out.
Yeah, point has unlocked, and once again, they need to get a body there, but looks like as extra time ticks away just at the last second. Iron-blooded orangutans do get someone on there, but they don't get any kills. It's only going to be 9 blows taking out Profi, but he's the sacrificial lamb for them, and that's going to be Mafty with a convincing 2-0 here on Thermal Plant.
Again, I don't want to underrate any teams or expect that any teams are out of it, but just by the pure skill of Mafty, this is a little bit, I think, what we expected. However, I'm very excited that we've been able to see some very different suits, and I think a lot of these suits are the ones that have been buffed in this last patch. And I'll say, just for anybody out there who isn't as familiar with what this last patch did, for example, Jim got 100 more life, got I guess like an overall buff on the range of the knockback of the shield Slam, or whatever it's technically called, Shield Charge. We see the Zaku 2 range that Carl Sagan was just absolutely dominating on. It gets now back a bar of boost gauge when you use the smoke grenade. So when you use your invincibility, you can get away even faster. And then, of course, the Hyperion, which I was really excited to see Anders on. So we've got a lot of different changes. We'll see if they end up using those suits in the second map of the game. But before we do get to that, we're going to take a short break to get the players set up. And when we get back, we'll be right back into it. Don't go anywhere. Team Mafty is up 1-0 up against Iron-Blooded Orangutans in our first match of the day. And we are going to be moving to our second map, which will be Mountain R&D. This is going to be a tough road for IBO, but again, I'm just glad that we get to see what they can do.
Yeah, and not surprisingly, of course, Carl Sagan's going to be swapping off onto Turn A Gundam, largely the same composition that we had in the last round here. But we do have 9 blows almost matching in kind. Never mind swapping over to the Ashamars. So we're not going to have a Turn A. And this is one of those maps where Turn A's G maneuver gets so much value on any points because of how it kind of deals with the ground.
It can absolutely, especially on B. Like when you see the bee just flying over it, it can be disgusting. But here we go. We are going to see, of course, the newly buffed higher fire damage Ashimar that already does so well on this map continue to do well. But immediately they're getting the double pick as Fear 101 goes down, Roberito goes down, Bonzilla goes down. That is 5 out of 6, and 9 blows the last one up. Manages to get a pick before going down themselves. So hey, you know what? Not a full 6 for 0, but a dominant position again for Mafty.
And for Mafty, I love this composition, especially when we know how strong the high ground is, in particular for A and C sites, because basically they're mirrored. And so you have so much control with Profi on the gym, along with focus, of course, on that Ashmore. And playing off these choke points, even though there's 3 ways of entry basically onto the sites, you have full control over Carl Sagan and Enders. We're going to go ahead and combine to go ahead and take out 9 blows, and that's not who you want going down. Your Ashimar needs to be the one that creates space for your squad.
Oh, just trying to fight in the backline, but Winslow finally going down. That can be a little bit of a cheeky spot, but I want to mention Enders on the Hyperion is such a cool pick. Enders more classically a left clicker, I would say, you know, using a lot of these like hit scan, like Pale Rider, for example, type units. But the fact that there's a tank that now has a gun that shoots in that fashion is super cool. I think we're going to see a lot of players playing more of a tank-ish role on, I guess, when we don't usually see them play that, which I think is exactly what we are seeing.
Yeah, I mean, as we swap on over to B, we're at least treated to being able to see B site this time around. And I feel like something might have changed in the algorithm and how that works. Instead of going AC, we are going over to B. 9 blows taking a lot of damage as he tries to peek on down. For Team Mafty, though, they are already in position to try and control the entryways. But Zilla going in, and he will be taken out by Nox. It's going to be the Exia V Exia battle here as Barbarito tries to chase after him. But no, he ends up losing out as Casino ends up showing up here, keeping him alive. The armor on Nox now as B unlocks, and it's of course going to go over towards Mafty right now. 9 Wolves have to be careful on the retreat. Nox is here, and he gets right back on out. They only end up losing out on 1, and that's Casino falling, but they have so many G maneuvers on the line that they can effectively fight 5v6.
When we do see once again the Lancer here potentially going to fly some people into the air. If anybody hasn't seen that yet, that is just one of the funniest things that you could possibly see. I think honestly, Enders is fishing for it. That's a really far forward hold, and they don't necessarily need to hold quite that far forward. There's only 19 seconds left, but okay, 9 blows using that G maneuver. Again, you know, even if they had won that fight, it might not have been worth it to use that, as we need to move already basically over to C. They would have only gotten about 5% off.
Yeah. It's as easy as ABC. I'm glad we get to see all 3 points of the first round here. They do end up pushing up once again. But this duo of tank and kind of off tank with Profi on that gym sniper have been absolutely great to see. Enders, whenever his shield cooldown is down, Profi ends up swapping out with him, taking the front line with that giant gym shield. Now we do have the gym versus gym battle here, both missing the shield bash. But you know what? Enders is here to try and help him out. Grey Wolf's taking a lot of damage as well. There's the gym ultimate going down, and now Casino charges forward. The screaming Nimbus, the punch, everything being utilized here by Team Mafty. Now Carl Sagan will be able to finish things off with that Moonlight Butterfly as well, but I don't even know if they need it.
I think that was actually 3 kills in 1 single hit from the side of Nox to close that out. Of course, they even had extra G maneuvers just on top of that. But wow, that is, I mean, this is a great map for Exia. It always has been. Back when we saw Exia on every single team, this was, again, a map that was just particularly good for it. There's all these mid-range, I guess you could say, lanes that make use suits like Ashimar and Dom so strong, and any unit that has verticality. Same thing, I would say, for Exia in a different way, in a very, very different way, but that was just disgusting how that ended. You can see the damage once again, and I just don't understand how Casino hit so many shots. Man, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the kind of experience that a lot of these players bring in. And in particular, we always talk about it. If you're coming from Quake or that kind of realm, the arena shooters, Dom is your guy, and Casino has shown extremely why. You know, being able to rock it, being able to have the hit scan as well, being able to play both projectile and hit scan is a skill that is extremely hard to refine, but he has been able to basically outclass most of the Doms or Dom players across our last few events.
Also one of the only players to really commit to Dom and basically only play Dom throughout these tournaments. Like a lot of times it's a flex player like Nox, for example, who's on their team as well. But already we see the high ground, and rushing that high ground is so important. You can see just how tough it is to fight against that, and already with that AoE damage and with that Casino too up there, this is tough.
Yeah, it's that double burn again. You can go ahead and pre-fire that one out, and now Profi, his shield's better. It might not be bigger, but it's definitely better. Prompting a change, actually. Fear 101, or 101st, actually, going on over to Zabi, and that's kind of surprising. You know, they were running double tanks, basically, or were considering it, but Grey Wolves now swapping off onto the turn A Gundam. We'll see if maybe the Pierce damage can help deal with the Gym Sniper. Or excuse me, the Gym.
I mean, hopefully it will, or hopefully at least they'll be able to get that G maneuver. That could definitely deal with how tanky this comp can be. But whoa, actually just fighting from the form, from the transformed form. You very rarely see that, but great aim. Focus, of course, another one of those players that is really committed to their suits. And hey, we can see another flying Ashimar. Ashimar to Ashimar. Nice,
the
great
dog
grenade.
fight's midair, not really going to take place quite yet. Nine Blows does have to back away to heal up, but Nox ends up taking out his counterpart once again. Right now, Iron-Blooded Orangutans are finding it difficult just to get onto the point. It is going to be seen, so swapping on over there, and just, excuse me, A, so we're going to be swapping on over from side to side. Mirror matchup basically at this point. Profi ends up taking out Death God, and Nox will clean that one up. Profi has not gotten out of their faces quite yet, but you gotta know that you cannot go for that overhead throw when your gym is in the way.
Oh, that was so funny. It was just an inch away, and they just shield slam. Get back there! No, get away from me! I don't want you to grab me. Yeah, I think you've gotten enough of the B point, right? You were so surprised to see it in the first game. It's like, no, we're probably never going to go back there again for the rest of the tournament. You know, we've seen enough. It's the daily limit.
Yeah, now they are going to try and push on to point A, but they've already lost out on 3. Nox picking that up along with Enders, and they'll only be able to get 83% here, of course, so we will get to be able to see the entire map once again as we go over to B here. Oh, Nox in the duels in the back. He does have the backup of the rest of his squad. It'll be good, as now it's going to be a full regroup from IBO. They're already kind of hinting at trying to go for the early rotate and try to cut people off. Enders, though, you got to be careful. He does have Death God behind him, but it looks like he will be able to pick up one. Profi finally going down, but he's traded away.
Ooh, yeah, the fact that the Dom was in front of the Sazabi right there meant that they kind of went down in the reverse order that they wanted to. Of course, that mobility on that Dom can be really strong if you're within that single dash range, but that just meant that they just weren't quite where they wanted to be, and there's the Lancer! Oh, catching 2 units with it. Not into the air yet, still waiting to see that, but I still think it's one of the strongest G maneuvers in the entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, especially when you have a Dom on it, right? So basically having a double Screaming Nimbus, it doesn't provide the same kind of utility that a Screaming Nimbus does, but, you know, double charge forward for a team to try and engage upon. It's an extremely strong engage tool, as now we do have, it looks like Team Mafty setting up. You can see Casino has all the mines down as well. Profi, go get your boy! Go get your boy!
No, it's all great here. They're working, though, right now on, of course, the 100%. Carl Sagan does have the butterfly, which is going to be so huge for this. Oh, that was the luckiest angle ever for that punch, just completely knocking Focus out of the window. Definitely count your blessings there, but this is probably going to be tough to punch. Returning the other way. Look here's how a punch should hit. And they're fighting for the extra time. Only a few people left. The Screaming Nimbus is a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. But,
no.
It's more of like a Dumb and Dumber. So there's a chance, right? That's what you're saying. Team Mafty will take a convincing 2-0, not only on this map, but in this set. And for Iron-Blooded Orangutans, they will be sent down to the lower bracket.
Well fought. Again, I know it's so hard to say it. Oh, Enders with that MVP. I really want to talk about that in a minute. But it is very well fought by IBO. Again, this is just such a powerhouse team. They have absorbed a bunch of other great players from other powerhouse teams. They are the ones to beat. But IBO, despite the fact that I would say the first map was really, really tough, they did have a lot of fighting chances. They got a lot more like picks, a lot more not exactly one team fights, but spots that made them have to reconsider their spacing. So I think that they did really well, and the adaptation in game number 2 was great, but they're still going to have a chance. They're still going to have a chance. IBO, they're going to be moving down to the losers bracket, and Mafty, they are what we expected them to be.
Yeah, and I love being able to get a quick sneak peek at what the kind of meta's shifting over to, right? So we're seeing kind of less support units being utilized right now, more tanky units. I mean, we got to see Profi there on that gym, and while he does have that repair grenade, it's not quite the same as, having the Pale Rider heal going down. Now, even though we were seeing some Pale Riders as well, it's just not the same kind of healing output. But I love the way they're utilizing kind of the off-tank meta right now. Profi on that gym, and then having, of course, Enders on that Hyperion. Swapping between both of those cooldowns was extremely exciting to see.
I love the double fire meta right now that we're seeing out of Mafty, at least. And again, I don't know if it's just something they're trying. I don't want to say that it's like what the meta is shifting to. I just mean like what their comp is. Of course, they increased the damage by quite a bit of the Ashmar flame grenade. So if you combine that with another flame grenade from the gym, it's like you're just if you stand in that spot, you are just dead. You are actually literally just going to die. In fact, it might even be enough to not only kill you, but destroy your downed suit, which is incredible. But it's been working really well, especially the fact that they've been on 2 small maps where there are a lot of choke points. They threw the double flames down, multiple times to the bottom of the ramp, and the entire team had to back up. They had to split up, and then from there it was just getting picks after picks. And I think again, it's so cool that we get to do this right after the patch. Right, we're like 2 days from season 3 starting. We've already seen Hyperion. We've already seen like 4 of the suits that have had changes. Basically everybody but Marsai. But I'm personally enjoying this, even just from one match.
Yeah, and as a support player who's played support in these team-based shooters for a really long time, it's kind of sad to see, them falling a little bit out of favor. Something like Methus and, of course, Unicorn not being utilized in a very kind of deathball-y composition like that, but you can completely see why Team Mafty felt more than comfortable. It looked like their healing output was great with the armor gun coming out from Dom, with the heal that you get from the Pale Rider, with the repair grenade from Jim as well. There are a lot of ways you can mitigate the damage, and so it does seem like you don't kind of need the Unicorn anymore or the Methus, but it's early goings. It's the early stages. This is only the first match that we're seeing in the day.
Oh yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that none of these teams are for sure set on what they feel of the meta. I mean, it's only been a couple days, so everybody's still exploring things. And I like the fact that we did see, of course, again, a ton of different suits that even we didn't see before this. Like we saw the Gym a lot, we saw the gun tank as well, we saw the Zakutu range, which of course we've seen a decent amount of, but we saw a lot more of it from Carl Sagan. And I'm going to go on to a little short myself tirade here, because I learned that me and Carl Sagan are both Toto 1010 fans. We both got the Toto 1010 cup, so it's cool that we are brethren within that. So I'm always going to be a Carl Sagan fan. I saw Toto was in the chat, so cheers. But I means I have to cheer for Carl Sagan every single time now.
Yeah, it's difficult not to cheer for him, especially with the performance that he put on the Zakutu range. And, in particular, it does come down to basically being there on a thermal plan. And I believe in the past, we've seen other players, Arrow, Profi, all might have kind of swapped on off to play Zakutu ranged on that map. And so it's no surprise to see Carl Sagan picking that one up for the team as well.
Yeah, and again, I have to shout out Enders too. It's so cool. It's so cool. I know I'm going to repeat exactly what I said, but I'm so excited to see this throughout the rest of, I don't know, just the coming days, right? Not only just this tournament, but the fact that we had a strong tank that was a shotgun tank, right, within Sazabi, meant that it took a particular type of player to kind of play that style. You have to be really, really up close and be comfortable with that type of shooting. But now that we have just a kind of like a left click, like machine gun type tank, it's so cool that we can see somebody like Enders kind of shift to that role, the sort of like half tank, half support role, but also while just completely melting people with left click. And I think we're going to see it from a few different other people. But we are now, of course, going to go to a break as we set up the second match of the day. I'm just so excited to see what we're going to see. If you want to see it, then you don't go anywhere, because we'll be back with game number 2, set number 2, right after this.